Udo, it's Dennis from the Australian Rock Show. How are you?
Oh, fine. Thank you very much.
Wonderful to get you on the podcast. The purpose of our chat today is the release of your brand new and very special album titled My Way. 17 wonderful covers on an album which is something pretty special and no doubt quite personal, songs which many fans are going to be pleasantly surprised to hear. I know you recently turned 70. Was the time right for you to look back and release a selection of songs which have influenced you? Is that the way My Way came about?
Let's say in this way, it was not really planned to do a cover album. It was just happened when we were doing some stuff at the studio. Yeah, and then we did the song Face Healer of the Alex Harvey band. That was the song that we always want to make a cover of, you know. And so the sound came out great. And then step by step, we were talking about, well, maybe we can do more cover stuff, and then just make a list, you know, what kind of songs you think or which songs you want to do, maybe if we do an album. Yeah, I was making up a list then, and let's say these songs are, what I choose is not, they're not songs that influence me or, I want to sing like Robert Plant, Klaus Meine, whatever. And it was just a person, Udo, you know, not the musician Udo. There was something I really liked in the end of the 60s, 70s, at the beginning of the 80s. So, and then we were talking about the management and the record company, and they said, can you imagine that we are doing a cover album? Yeah, and then we played, we gave the record company 2 or 3 songs that you can have a listen how everything will be happen. And then they said, yeah, the sound is great, and here we go, My Way.
Well,
now it's, Yeah,
naming the album after Sinatra's big hit from 1969 is interesting, and your version of My Way is really quite beautiful. Obviously, you know, the message of the song is living on your own terms. Were you listening to Frank Sinatra as a late teenager, and how did My Way influence you?
Let's say I was watching this on TV, you know, when he was singing songs together with Dean Martin, completely drunk most of the time. And the song, I mean, there's also a little story behind, you know. Or let's say in the first place, also My Way, I did everything my way, you know, like Udo way.
Sure.
And never was... listen too much to people around me, you know. I said, I want to do it like this, and then I did it. So, and the song My Way, we had this already on the Dirkschneider Live record and DVD. And so when we start thinking about how we want to name the album, and then we came, My Way, you did everything your way. And then we put this song again on this album, and I think in the beginning when we was recording the song, vocal-wise also, I said, everybody's sure that I can sing that. But in the end, it works, and I'm happy that I did it.
And the album My Way has a release date of April the 22nd, and there's some stunning interpretations from you on a wide variety of artists, such as, you know, the aforementioned Alex Harvey, the Stones, Scorpions, Queen,
yes,
Judas Priest, ACDC, Zeppelin, Rainbow and the Sweet, to name but a few. We can't go through all of them, but I would just like to talk through some of the ones which have caught my attention. Let's start with the Queen cover from '77, We Will Rock You. Obviously, Queen's catalogue is very wide and rich. Why We Will Rock You?
Why We Will Rock You? I mean, of course, there are some songs like Stone Cold Crazy will be also a good song, definitely for my voice, you know. I mean, I was always listen to the fast version of We Will Rock You on the Killer live album of Queen. And then I said, if I do a Queen cover, then I will do this song, you know, and we make it a little bit different, and arranging wise, and also, I mean, the guy who was doing all the arrangement stuff on this My Way album, Peter Copes, he was a German guy, but he was a guitar player in We Will Rock You musical, you know, and he's really close with Brian May. And he was sending him the version of We Will Rock You, and then he said, Brian May answered and said, thank God, not the normal version. One guy is doing now the fast version, say hello to Udo, well done. I mean, this is a real honor. You know?
Very cool.
Yeah, you know, yeah, so, so I think I choose the right song of Queen.
And the accompanying video is brilliant, by the way. Might I say genius? You know, you've used humour mixed with some seriousness, and have captured something pretty special, which so many can identify with. Approaching 1 million views on YouTube, I might add.
Yes.
What's the background story to the video of We Will Rock You?
Yeah, to the video. You know, in the beginning. That was, we thought, okay, we just put the band on stage and play the song. And then the director of the video company, he said, nah, everybody's doing that, quite boring, you know, let's do something different. And he came up with, a lot of different ideas. But in the end, he said, you know what, why you not make it a little bit more funny, laughing yourself, and you play all the roles on your own. I said, what? Every role on my own? Yeah, he said, okay, you start as a cleaning man, then you end up in real heavy metal gear. And I said, okay, let's do it and see what's coming out. And I mean, in a way, I can always say, don't take everything too serious, you know. I mean, it's a little bit, funny. It's like, make it also more interesting that the people watch the whole thing until the end, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's a different type of Udo videos, but I think it works.
Have you always enjoyed the creative process of making music videos? And I was going to say, you've come a long way since flying on that wrecking ball in the Balls to the Wall video, which I'm assuming was quite a dangerous stunt.
Oh, yeah. I mean, videos, that's not my favorite part of being a musician. Let's say it this way. You know, it's like always like you have to start in the morning, I don't know, at 7 o'clock. And end up in the middle of a night, I don't know when, you know. It's always like 2 or 3 minutes, and then, okay, we have to change the light. No, we have to take a different position, you know. It's, let's say, not my favorite part.
May I say, quite possibly, my favourite track on the album is your take of Frankie Miller's bluesy masterpiece from 1982, Jealousy. It's a very cutting and powerful song, one of Frankie's best, and your recording is superb.
Yeah, I mean, I heard this song, when it came out, and it was always like a song I really like, you know, and that was like also a song I have to do on the cover album. And and it works, you know. It's like, I like this song. It's one of my favorite songs on the My Way album.
Well, it's great that your version of Jealousy will no doubt inspire many rock fans to search out the original by Frankie Miller, which is a pretty cool thing.
Maybe.
Yeah. And one of the other real surprises on the album is your faithful and glorious run through of Hellraiser, made famous by the Sweep back in '73. You know, your vocals are obviously unlike Brian Connolly's, but this recording of yours works so well. Where did the fondness for the Sweep begin? Early 70s German discos, maybe?
Yeah, and German discos on TV, you know, but there was always with the hits, you know, Ballroom Blitz and Fox on the Run and all that stuff. I was more into the B side. I mean, I'm a fan of Sweet, you know, and also my old bandmate Stefan Kaufmann. He's also a big Sweet fan, and he's very close with Andy Scott of Sweet, you know, and. I mean, he did all the guitars on it. Stefan Kaufmann was playing all the guitars. He said, okay, if you do this song, I want to play all the guitars on this, you know. He's, what can I say? I mean, I like Hellraiser of Sweet, and it fits together with my voice, you know.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, Nutbush City Limits, this is such a fun and also special album to listen to. Case in point, Ike and Tina Turner's crunching feel-good stomper, Nutbush City Limits, hugely popular and still played regularly here in Australia. I love the vocal. I love the vocal intro which you've done here, and then 20 seconds in, bam, it gets heavy. Great to hear that. Great to hear that guitar riff heavied up. Just love it.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a little story behind this. I mean, when we was rehearsing with my old band, except in a rehearsal room, from time to time we start warming up with this song, Nutbush City Limits, and that was definitely also a song. On one hand, I'm a big Tina Turner fan, I was already a fan of Ina Turner, like Proud Mary, River Deep, Mountain High. It can be also, can make it really heavy. And that was the chance to say, now I make a cover version of Nutbush City Limits, so.
Yeah.
And here we go.
It works well. You've always seemed focused and positive over the years. I am curious about a huge moment in your career circa 1987. Exiting an established band and starting a solo career is not easy, yet you transitioned remarkably well. What did you learn about yourself looking back on that whole experience back in 1987?
I mean, in the first place, I tried to make the short this history, It was not so funny, I mean, that they throw me out of my own band, I mean, I was, came up with it, except blah, 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 long time before Peter Baltus and Wolf Hoffman was in the band. And for me, it was like... I don't know. It was easy starting. I said, okay, I don't want to be commercial. I don't want to do what they want to do. And then the Animal House album, what I did in 87, that was normally the next album after Russian Roulette, Then they said, yeah, you can have all the songs, no problem. You can have them. We want to do something different. For me, that was the best start ever, to start my solo career. And directly... the first tour we did, a European tour. It was easy to find the right musicians, and then I was going on tour with Guns N' Roses and Rita Ford in America. Then with the next UDO album, I was going on a huge European tour with Ozzy Osbourne. So everything was going, quite good for me. I was not that I have to think, oh, what's going on now, and everything was like happened. And I think at this time, to close the whole thing, is like, I think Accept was not really happy that they fired me,
I think
they knew that they did something wrong. But this is history, and in a way now I'm make more albums with UDO and longer time together with UDO than I was with Accept, So... But sometimes things happened, but for me everything was positive, and so I'm fine.
Back to the new album, there's a blazing take of Motörhead's No Class on My Way. I reckon Lemmy would be looking down and smiling on that one. It's a great take which more than honours the original.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I was a really good friend with Lemmy, and also Mickey D and Phil Campbell. And that was also that's my favorite song of Motörhead, and that was definitely a song I have to do. And here we go.
As a side note, you just mentioned Phil. Phil Campbell plays out with his sons in their band. Not many fathers can play and create music and play in a band as you also do with Sven. It must be a very rewarding and special thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy that my son was joining the band. Now he's nearly 7 years in the band, and he is in a way now. Let's say it's not the typical father and son thing. It's more a real friendship, and he's doing so many things now for UDO. Now also on the last two albums, Game Over and the one before was Steel Factory, we was also did all the lyrics together, and now he's coming up also with some melodies, with vocal wise for songs, and he's really into that, you know, and it's for me, it's like I'm always open-minded, you know. It's like, oh, I mean, it's a different generation, and they're coming up with some interesting stuff, you know. Yeah. So I'm really happy to have it in the band.
That's good. That's positive. And another highlight for me on My Way is your take of the Stones' Painted Black. Same question, I guess, as with Queen. You know, the Stones have such a wonderful back catalogue. Why Painted Black?
Why Painted Black? Always my favorite song, you know. I mean, of course, there's so many songs you can do of Rolling Stones, you know. But Painted Black always was like, in my mind, if I do one day a cover song or whatever, that definitely Painted Black. And also what I really like about this song, what we did, is like the arrangement, you know. It's a completely different arrangement, but still painted black, you know. Yeah. And and also I think it's Udo style. And it works, you know.
You know, if we're talking Stones, I do just wish to mention the Beatles. I am curious, as you would have been around 12 or 13 when the Beatles hit it big in 64, 65. Did the
Beatles, they have an impact. They had only one Beatles song, you know.
They had an impact on you as a young teenager?
Yeah, I mean, I started with the Beatles. My first single was a Beatles single. And I was doing a cover version of I'm Down. I don't know what the A-side was. But, I mean, it's a really straightforward cover version of I'm Down. But then the publishing company said, no, we don't want to have it. And this, we found out that Yoko Ono, she never give any rights away. And so the song is existing on my computer, but not on the album. It's a little bit sad about this, you know. I really want to have this song on the album, but
one of McCartney's best. And interestingly enough, I don't want to get sidetracked, but I'm sure Aerosmith, she must have granted the rights because they did cover it in the late 80s. But I do, of course, have to make mention of AC/DC's TNT, which I really dug. How important have AC/DC and Bon Scott been in your life?
Oh yeah, I mean, when I heard AC/DC for the first time, it was like, what is this? You know, and I mean, also it's a huge catalog of AC/DC. You know, I mean, I'm a really big fan of AC/DC, but you know, of course, Highway to Hell, Touch Too Much, and I don't know, so many songs. But, you know, Highway to Hell is covered, I don't know, a million times. Sure. Touch Too Much and a couple of other things. TNT, I think there are some cover versions, but that was also a song I really like, you know, and it fits to my vocals.
As is well known, Accept recorded the unreleased AC/DC song I'm a Rebel in late 79, written by Big Brother Alexander Young. For a time, Alex was interested in producing the band, was he not?
I don't know. Okay. I have no idea. But when we did the I'm a Rebel album, our publishing company came up and said, "Hey, we have a demo tape of AC/DC, eight-track demo tape with Bon Scott, the song called I'm a Rebel. If you want to do this, they don't want to do the song." Well, then we both listened to the song. It's much slower than what we did with I'm a Rebel, you know, but it works, you know. And,
it does. It's fantastic song.
Yeah, I mean, I still play this song from time to time also now, and I mean, everybody knows that song, you know. Young people, older people, fantastic. And I'm happy that we did this at this time.
You know, most Australian music fans have a fondness for The Stroke by Billy Squier. That was, in fact, a top 5 song here in Australia. And I really dig your version of The Stroke.
Yeah, I mean, also, you know, I mean, Billy Squier, when I heard The Stroke, I mean, I was really into that song, you know, and that was also a song I was listening to, you know, all the time, and then there was also must to put it on the cover album. And I think it worked, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I think, again, it's not something people might expect to hear, but, you know, you've done a wonderful job with it. Mate, a couple of random ones before we finish up, if I may. 5 decades in rock and roll and heavy metal. Are there any plans to write a book and tell your story?
Yeah, I'm working on a book,
Right.
and but slowly, and it's not so easy. I mean, it's I have in a way two things, I have the whole exact area from the beginning until they fired me, and then I have a UDO stuff. Maybe I have to write two books. One of that exact time and one with UDO. But I'm at the moment I got I think nearly 100 pages already.
Yeah.
So slowly I work from time to time on the book, and yeah, maybe one day, I don't know when, but that will be something, a biography coming out.
Love it. Good to hear. Russian Roulette entered the Australian charts in 1986 and in fact climbed to number 93 on the charts here. There was never an Australian tour back then. Is it possible that you may in fact tour Australia in the future?
Pooh, yeah. I mean, this is one of my dreams, to come to Australia.
Sure.
Maybe if we are really lucky. We tried it many times, but it never works out. Don't ask me why, There was money-wise and this and blah, 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 whatever. And so next year, after also a long time, we go to Japan.
Yep.
I mean, if we do Japan, then it's easier to go to Australia, And definitely, if this happened with Japan, definitely we try to come to Australia. Would like to do this, It doesn't matter. Is it small clubs or whatever? I don't know. It's just do it, I really want to do this.
Objection Overruled from 93, your first record back. Songs like I Don't Want to Be Like You and Slaves to Metal. It's one of my favourite albums. How do you look back on that? How do you look back on that time period? It seemed like the energy and positivity was back.
Yeah, I mean, that was like the reunion of Accept, know. And I mean, that was for me very important. Before I said yes to the reunion, I said, I want to have a real Accept album, and yeah, and the Objection Overruled definitely is definitely a really good Accept album. But then after this, the same old story start again, with Death Row and Predator. There was again the many things, and then in the end, Predator, I said, okay, thank you very much and bye bye, and I start UDO again. There was the same shit coming up again. Long story, but when the book is coming out, everybody will know what's really going on.
Udo, let's start to finish up. It's no small statement, but along with guys like Halford, Dio, and Dickinson, to name but a couple, your iconic voice is one that helped to define the heavy metal genre. It's been wonderful chatting with you today. I wish you all the best with the new album, My Way.
Thank you very much.
And for the months ahead.
You.
Before you go, every guest gets to choose a song by an Australian band. What would you like to choose and why?
An Australian band?
Yes.
I like Roaster 2 a lot.
Great.
But I cannot really name a song. Sorry.
What about Rock and Roll Outlaw? Is quite famous. Rock and Roll Outlaw. Sound good?
Then do this one.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you again, and great talking with you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.